But you know you're already pastors, caregivers, you're worship leaders. Every time you say to anybody, can we say a prayer before we eat? Or you have a child whom you teach to say something like thank you before he or she goes to bed.
After speaking of all the churches you are a part of and loved, I'm going to ask that you read an excerpt of what you wrote.
I'm doing what Charlene wants me to do here. And then I want her to become part of my family. I guess we are. Okay. Barbara Brown Taylor as edited by Charlene. So in some ways I wrote the book to play with the ideas of what is church exactly. But I'm having a pretty good time experimenting with the idea of what it would be to bless. I mean, I needed really to write a book both to explore, some ways in which one person's experience of ordained ministry changed at midlife. It's a midlife book in a lot of ways. And also, hopefully, to be a book that would help a lot of people think about whether their roles and their souls were working in tandem or not. And church happens to be the way I worked some of that out. So
how can the church today learn to not limit our encounters with the capital M more, and yet still be a relevant and necessary part of our lives?
When you're in a vital place, I think you can look around and say, what's working here and why is it working? So I think we all, bloom where we're planted. We're all wine that sucks up the terroir of our particular earth. So the first answer would be pay attention to what's going on here. But also, this is a church where I first really did pay attention to people who said, this is where they got this was not everything. Church was not the be-all and end-all, but it was the place to come to be reminded about the fullness of revelation, the fullness of creation, the fullness of the ways people come. I'm an idealist and a romantic and all the rest of it, but it still seems to me like it's worth a try. Gandhi got the idea from Matthew 6, Matthew 5, the Sermon on the Mount. So Gandhi got the idea there, and I've just seen it. I've seen it work in some pretty remarkable places, whether it's the South or South Africa, or I take students to a little masjid in Atlanta that it's in a reconfigured grocery store, so it was surrounded by liquor stores, and the people in the masjid really wanted the liquor stores gone, and so what they started doing was making better offers on the land than anybody could have made these folks. So a whole lot of the liquor store owners left with richly lined pockets, and some of the others who held out, the members of the masjid, would show up on Sunday with fried chicken and sweet tea and say, we're going to have to pick it out front, but is there anything else we can get you before we do? And it was,
I for one so appreciate the way that you have challenged our preconceived notions and understandings of things throughout this book. Just even the spatial understanding of God and these dimensions. And one chapter that was particularly exciting was the one on the practice of wearing skin. That's when I was like, whoa, Barbara is a rock star.